All right, guys, the White House just made a major announcement, and I want to know what you guys think of this. I want to know if you guys think this is a good idea or a bad idea. I think this could potentially be a very bad idea. We are already seeing chaos erupt around the country, and this could potentially make things even worse and trigger things even more. All right, so let's get into the news here really quick, guys. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple videos a day, keeping you guys updated, and it helps to get these warnings out. All right, so the White House just made a major decision, and this is as we are seeing events like this unfold around the country. All right, we're seeing police and riot gear being deployed right now in New York tonight. This is currently happening within the past 2 hours. Riot police in New York have been deployed, anticipating a major riot and event there. All right, and the White House is now making this major announcement too that could make these events even worse, right? Even more excessive and even more rowdy and potentially destructive. It's reaching a tipping point, and they have made this announcement right in the middle of all this. So let's get into this here. All right, you can see this is what the White House just announced. The White House is considering welcoming Palestinians from war-torn Gaza as refugees. This just came out April 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just a few hours ago. All right, the White House just announced this, that we could see a major influx of, quote, refugees, which get, when they have refugee status, it means they're entitled to a lot of benefits, right? They can get access to essentially all the standard benefits that citizens can get as this refugee status, and it's potentially a national security risk. All right, I want to know what you guys think. I feel bad. All right, I understand this is a war. I feel bad. I don't want this war going on. I want peace. I really do feel bad what's happening over there. All right, this is tragic. But I don't want America to have to absorb every single country's problems, okay? Why isn't Egypt accepting the refugees? Why isn't Saudi Arabia? Why isn't Iran? Why aren't any of these other countries around the Middle East that are right there? They are not accepting them, and we are going to have to deal with this in the United States, and it's a potential national security risk because there could be people coming over here that are potentially linked to fighters in these groups like Hamas and other groups that are forming over there. All right, so this is a major red flag, a major national security risk. I want to know what you guys think. It's a touchy subject. I feel bad, but at the same time, we cannot risk America and Americans' lives, and this does not offer any real benefit to America to allow this situation. All right, so this is also what's happening right now around the country. All right, police are deploying tear gas. We're seeing these protests for this exact issue at universities all around the country, and they're becoming violent. People are breaking things. This was a hostage situation that was going on at Columbia University last night. All right, they were not letting this guy leave, and they had to negotiate and all this stuff to get somebody out of this building who was trying to leave. They were holding this person hostage there and using them as a ploy to get their demands met, right? This is taking over universities around the country right now, and riot police are being deployed. This is happening in New York currently tonight, Tuesday night. The riot police are deployed waiting on the streets of New York, and they are anticipating a major riot outside of Columbia University tonight, and this has been happening the past week or so, and there's been a lot of damage to properties in the area, apartment buildings, office buildings, all these things are getting damaged in the area as well. And there's even been people marching with torches and fire and things like that to the police stations, okay? And this is all while people are waving foreign flags and have on these foreign attire, all this stuff, okay? It's all supporting foreign countries inside of America. I believe it should be America first in these situations. That's what we should be considering. What's the best option for America as a country? And I don't really agree with any of this, right? I'm not really on a side in this situation here. I just want America. I want the best thing for America, and this is not it, right? And this major announcement by the White House could potentially be a national security risk for our country. We could see people come over that are now going to be in the middle of these, quote, protests and events that are happening, right? Some people are peaceful protesting, okay, but there's also a lot of people that are agitating, rioting, causing destruction, shutting stuff down, not letting people move, not letting people go to class, all this stuff. And it's a problem. That's not peaceful once you're crossing the line into these territories, all right? When you're stopping other people from living their lives as well, right? It's the same thing when things like traffic are blocked or airports are blocked. That's when you're crossing the line. Now you're affecting innocent people and affecting their lives and hurting their lives. And that's when it's no longer acceptable or just a normal protest, right? So I want to know what you guys think of this. I'm pro First Amendment, pro America, but this isn't even there. You're protesting this foreign war between foreign countries in America and causing chaos in the US. It's just, none of it makes sense, and it's being organized and agitated. They all have the same exact tents, okay? There's hundreds of tents in different states, and they're all the same exact green top tents, the exact same color and everything. There's hundreds and hundreds of them, probably thousands of them throughout the country, hundreds at just one university sometime, and all throughout the country they have these same tents. It's being organized, it's being funded by outside groups, people even potentially like George Soros. There was a whole report on that a couple of days ago documenting how he's paying certain protesters that don't even go to these schools to go in there and have speeches and all this stuff and get people riled up. They all have the same exact signs as well, all across the country. Okay, they have the same signs, the same tents, all the stuff. This is completely organized. And at the University of South Florida in Tampa, they're deploying tear gas, right? People are scattering. Riot police are being deployed. They're really shutting things down in Tampa and Texas, right? It's a balance here. People do have a First Amendment right, but this is also private property, right? There's rules to the school to attend there, all these things. There's a bunch of problems wrong, and then you're also creating chaos and destruction, preventing people from moving. All these different things are also happening at the same time, right? So we could see this bubble up into a similar 2020 chaos event where there's agitations and these things are co-opted and taken over, and people start rioting and burning things down, starting fires, all the stuff we could see like that happen in 2020. That could potentially happen again. Let's hope it doesn't. But who knows? We don't know who is going to be coming over here. There could potentially people that are slipping through the cracks that do not have good intentions, that are going to be led over here and potentially want to be involved in all this chaos and take it to the next level, right? And we've seen all these warnings. The FBI director was warning last week. He was saying that we could see, quote, coordinated attacks inside the U.S. similar to what happened in Russia at that concert hall, where there were hundreds of people that lost their lives, all right? And he was saying we could see something very similar to that, and at the same time, our country is wide open, okay? And check out these numbers really quick. This is what's going on in our country, right? So you can see here, these are numbers that have been released, just released, and it's showing how many people have been flooding into our country over the past year, right? You can see here it says internal DHS data reveals that 45 plus U.S. cities that hundreds of thousands of migrants have flown into the U.S. via the Biden administration's controversial CHNV mass parole program. All right, so this is the program where they are allowing certain numbers of people from certain countries to enter the U.S. unchecked, and they can fly right in. It says the DHS data shows that during an 8-month stretch from January through August 2023, roughly 200,000 migrants flew into the U.S. directly via the program, with 80% of them arriving in the state of Florida in 4 cities: Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Tampa. This is insane. And you don't think about it, but I'm telling you, this stuff's happening. It's all over the South. You don't think it's like, oh, these southern states, the Southeast, it's not, these aren't border states, so we just have water and other states around, but this is happening. I'm telling you, this is happening down here too. And 80% of people that are in this program flew into Florida. It says Miami had 91,000 people. Fort Lauderdale had 60,000. Right? Houston, Texas, 7,000. And New York City only had 14,000 from this same program. Right? So people are being flown into Florida at a higher rate than New York City through this program. This is absolutely insane, right? And here are the numbers of people. It says, according to the data, at least 404,000 migrants, quote, migrants have flown into the U.S. via the CHNV parole program since it first began. And it says 154,000 people from Haiti, 95,000 people from Venezuela, 84,000 from Cuba, and 69,000 from Nicaragua. All right, so those are the numbers. It's happening constantly, and they're actually choosing Florida to go to. You want to think about it. Florida's not a border state, but Florida's having these problems as well. They're dealing with the situation with Haiti. People are fleeing Haiti because it's internally collapsing, and gangs have taken over the government completely. And there have been tens of thousands of people in the past few months that have left Haiti on boats and planes that are now in Florida, that are showing up in Florida, right? So all these things, they're major national security risks you have, even if it's just 0.0001% of people, when you're bringing in hundreds of thousands of people. This is just one program, and there's millions every single year, admittedly, right? There's been admittedly 7 to 10 million that have come in under Biden alone just in the past few years since 2021, right? 7 to 10 million. 7 admittedly, and closer to 10 million when you include things like gotaways have come into the United States in the past few years. It's a major national security risk, and even if it's just a very small percentage of people that have bad intention, this could cause chaos inside the United States, right? And we're already seeing this chaos. We could see people flying directly in foreign agents, foreign spies, foreign military units, foreign military agitators, anything. We could see them fly right into our country, choose any city of their liking, and go to these areas and start organizing people and causing these agitations and these riots, right? And we could potentially see something like 2020 happen again. Let's hope not, but it seems like a lot of these things that happen in our society are on this cycle where they happen every 4 years when we have to do stuff every 4 years, right? We have to have elections and all this stuff every 4 years, and a lot of these things bubble up right on time, all right? So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of this plan for the White House. Do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? And just one thing to think about, all right? I have empathy. I feel bad. But where's everyone going? Who's paying for it all? Whose houses are they going to? Whose homes? We already have a crisis with all these cities. They have their hotels filled to the brim, and they've been kicking people out because there's so many people showing up that they just have to kick the old people out to deal with the new influx of people that are coming in. It's a crisis. It's an emergency in the U.S. nationwide, and also in these cities that are being overwhelmed, big and small cities all over the country. And it's just, where is everyone going to go? It's always the U.S. We always have to foot the bill for everything globally, right? The U.S. is, where's it going to happen? Are these politicians, are they going to stay at the White House? They all have 2, 3, 4 houses, all of them. They have multiple houses, right? Pick your politician, good or bad. Even some of the ones that are good, they all have multiple homes. And are they going to let them stay there? Is that where people are staying? Is their spare homes? Because they're already coming for your homes through squatting and things like this. These squatting laws are insane in places like New York. People can just get away with stealing your home, breaking and entering, breaking into your home, stealing electricity, stealing utilities, stealing rent, all the stuff. They just get away with it and have more rights than homeowners do. Okay? I've covered stories on here before. This is a major crisis. Where's everyone going to go? There's already a housing crisis. People can barely afford to buy a home. Interest rates are so high. Housing prices are so high. They haven't been coming down. All right? Everything's been skyrocketing in price. Everyone's already stretched so thin. All right? It's hard for Americans to get a home and to pay their rent and to keep themselves above water. And now there's millions of people coming, and we have to figure it out for them too. What about the homeless vets that are sleeping on the streets? All right? There's no mass movement of government to deal with Americans that are homeless, that are in crisis, that are dealing with emergencies. All the stuff that have lived here their whole life. Some of them have given their life to the U.S. too, right, in service. And there's no mass movement to protect them and give these same resources to them, right? So that's my major issue here, right? And the U.S. is the most generous country on the planet, on the face of the planet, in the history of the world, history of the universe that we know. The United States is the most generous country ever in history. We've given away so much aid, help, support, housing, food, everything, shelter to so many countries, so many people, everything. We're the most generous country on earth, but at the same time, there are millions of people still struggling in the US that need help too. All right, so thank you guys. I appreciate you watching. Please hit it up for me down there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I appreciate that. It helps to get this out. And let me know what you guys think on this situation. All right, I think this is potentially a major national security risk. All right, so thank you guys. Get prepared, get stocked up. If we see everything's wide open, if we see something like this, they're warning of coordinated attacks, coordinated events, we could see lockdowns, we could see disruptions, we could see people panic buying, all this stuff. That's why it's good to have your preps now. Have your canned food now. Have your 20-pound bags of rice now. Have your water tanks filled up, your gas tanks filled up, your water filters, your Life Straw, your Sawyer Mini water filter that you can drink right out of ponds. Have all these things right now. So when people realize, it hits people, wait a minute, something's happening. It's going down. They're gonna wake up and stuff's just gonna start changing overnight. That's what happened in 2020. If you guys remember, they made this big announcement. We're gonna flatten everything. We're gonna flatten it out, right? You know what I'm talking about. Flattening the lump, right? I don't even want to say it on here. You know what I'm talking about. I remember too, as soon as I was announced, the shelves were cleared out. They were empty. There was no toilet paper for weeks, right? It was a struggle. And that was the start. We could see similar events if there's some kind of big event inside the US as well. And we have big lockdowns and potentially even like martial law scenarios. We already have the National Guard on the subway systems in New York City. There's already National Guard guarding these hotels, these quote migrant hotels in New York City as well. National Guard were deployed there 6 months ago and have been keeping law and order at them. So we already have a quasi-martial law happening in our major cities. And if we see something big like this, they're going to clamp down even more. So get prepped, get ready, try to get out of these major cities. Even if you are, make it one of your goals to get away and get out on your homestead, get out on some land so you can have some chickens, grow a garden, all that stuff. That's what we're working on here. On top of our preps, we also have chickens. We have a bunch of chickens, working on a garden, all this stuff. It's key to dealing with this chaos and also just being healthier, dealing with inflation, dealing with all this stuff too. Right? Food's expensive. You need to start growing your own food, right? As much as possible, as soon as possible. So thank you guys. I hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.